And we are live. Welcome to another edition of Comics Cast Let It Out on a beautiful November 22nd day. And I was trying to figure out a good way to introduce my co-host over here, Rick, because he doesn't like the adjectives that I've been using. So I came up with super duper co-host. Does that sound good, Rick?
I mean, it's the closest you can get.
Oh, is that the best super duper
I would
co-host?
just say,
Yeah.
I would just say I'm a most amazing co-host ever, but that's fine.
Okay, most amazing co-host ever. All right,
Yeah.
so anyway, I want to welcome everybody to another edition of Comics Cast Let It Out with my most amazing co-host ever, Rick. Say hello, Rick.
Hello, Rick.
All right, take everything so literally here. So yes, it's another show. And before I introduce our guest, I just wanted to take care of a little shameless self-promotion that we want to do for Comics Cast. And just like that, my super duper, super awesome co-host had it ready to show. So this is our Indie Comics Cast page on YouTube. And I encourage everybody to like and subscribe because we want to get those numbers up because if we can get more of those subscribers, we can get people to like and subscribe. That means more eyes on our guests on our shows works. So please do that. It would be a tremendous help to us, and it would be I know that Rick would really appreciate it. I think he would. What would you do, Rick, if somebody was to like and subscribe? Would you do something special for them?
I would smile and say thank you.
Okay, that's all you.
I don't know what else I
Whoa,
can give.
wait. You would smile and say thank you. How about you like our own page? Rick, we talked about this several times here. Your button is still red. It's subscribe. You're my super duper super awesome co-host, most co-host ever, and you didn't subscribe.
Fine.
What is the deal? What is the deal?
I'll keep subscribing this time. Gosh.
Okay. All right, yeah. I think Rick is just again. I guess he's trying to illustrate to our audience members how
It's
to
just
like and
one click,
subscribe.
guys. It's one click. Even the owl can do it.
Oh yeah, bring me into it. One click.
If the owl can do it, you can do it.
So anyway, we appreciate it. We're so thankful. Go to our Indie Comics Cast page. Click on the videos tab, and you can see the breadth of our video library. This is only a portion. We have some. This is our most recent stuff, but we actually have some stuff from earlier in the year that is really good too. But all of our most recent
to be honest, you should just start with about this around here because this is where I came in.
Yeah, that's where you came in. All right, yeah, you heard it from Rick. So at least watch the ones with Rick because Rick needs an ego boost. So like and subscribe for Rick because it'll make him feel better. So anyway, so just to make it easier too, I also Rick was so generous. He created this short URL here. So if you don't want to go to Indie Comics Cast on YouTube, you have to type in Indie Comics Cast when you go to YouTube and search for it, or you can type in the short URL and you can find it that way.
Oh, so, I have to hang on. I'm sorry. No, Maria, I'm the one. This is me.
Maria.
This is not Handsome Gerald. This is just me.
Okay.
Easy to get confused.
All right. So thank you, Maria. Maria is one of my dear friends, and I think she's a dear friend to you, Rick. But she's also a dear friend to our guest, which I'm going to be introducing in a second. So I just want to say thank you to Maria. She's joining us all the way from the other side of the planet, I believe, Indonesia. So we thank her for staying up late to watch Comics Cast. Let it out. So without further ado, if you want to close this screen, we got Saeed. Saeed is a frequent on our show as well.
Saeed is with us as always. Good to see you. And we got a Stephen. I'm butchering the name. Steven Sample.
Yeah, and he was referring to you. I'm not awesome, Rick. You're awesome.
Of course. Awesome. No, he's referring to our guest.
Oh, that is so true. Let's introduce our guest. So without further ado, give me the drum roll, Rick. Can you do a drum roll? Oh no, you're busy. You're drinking. All right, here's the drum roll, and our drum roll is for Mr. Chad Nuss. Woo!
Woo! Hello.
I'm so happy to have Chad on the show. Chad, say hi to everybody. Oh,
your sound is off.
Your sound is off. Something happen? Oh, come on. We were actually testing this before the show. Something happened.
Unmute yourself, Chad.
Yeah, bear with us, audience. We have while we're doing that, let me change the scroller at the bottom. And the scroller is how you can get in touch with Chad. Hopefully, we won't have to read lips for this entire show. So please check that out.
Nope.
Oh, we still can't hear you. Oh no.
Oh.
There we are.
That sounded.
Okay. Please bear with us.
I swear everything was working before we went live, guys. This usually doesn't happen.
We still can't hear you. So,
he doesn't know what he did.
Okay, worst case, let's
I do like his name is the Silence Comics, because all we have from him right now is complete silence.
Oh, that was classic. Yeah, well, we're gonna introduce Chad's. I'm gonna call it his magnum opus. Is that the correct term? It's like his.
We can still not hear you.
Oh, we still can't hear you? Okay, wait. Let me try this. All right. Can you read what his lips are?
No, I.
Okay, Chad, try and unmute yourself from the screen, because I'm trying to unmute you and it won't let me. So.
Nope.
No. This is so funny. Oh. Okay. Oh, you need the link? You need the link again? Something about his phone. This is like charades. Okay, something about your phone, and you're pointing to it, and you're waving it. Okay, here, Chad, go to the chat that we set up and type in the chat what you're talking about.
No, we can. None of us can hear Chad right now, Maria.
Yeah, Maria. We're trying to work through this. Okay, he's typing away.
We could hear him before the show started and everything. So, God damn it, Gerald.
Oh, yeah, it's much. Okay, Rick, do some quick interpretive dance and sing. How about sing while we're trying to work through this technical difficulty?
Okay.
Okay. Oh, kazoo. Oh, that is great. We're getting some kazoo action.
We gotta get demonetized for sure.
Okay, yes. Through my phone, but the phone is green. Oh, okay. Let me do this. Oh, that is okay. We got it. Okay. Enough. Zip. All right. Makes complete sense. All right, so let's do this. All right, okay. Chad. that was the problem, because we weren't going to bring the art cams on until later, and we realized that his art cam is where the audio is coming from. So,
God.
All right, so we just embarrassed ourselves. We did not. Chad was like saying,
"You embarrassed yourself, Gerald. I knew all along. I knew all along.
Yeah. You knew all along. Okay, we had a little bit of a hiccup, and now we can hear Chad. Chad.
Hi, Chad.
Yes.
Welcome.
I'm here. Yes.
And we can hear you. That had to be the most awesome introduction ever. We just saw your
drum roll and everything.
I know, and then we got, but you know what? We got, Chad, you missed out on Rick's kazoo playing.
Oh no, I heard all of it.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's right.
Yes.
You could hear it. You just couldn't say anything about how awesome his kazoo playing was.
Yes, right? I was shouting in the background.
I will start doing live concerts.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And eventually, when COVID is over, we can all hop over to Denmark and watch his, a live performance.
No, don't come to Denmark. We are enough people already. We don't need more people.
I'm not gonna stay in Denmark. I'm just gonna.
No, you're not.
I'm gonna visit. I just want to visit. So. But anyway, now that we got over that little bit of technical difficulty hump, I want to welcome Chad Nuss to our show. I am so thrilled to have you here because
something is clicking annoyingly.
Can you hear that? Yeah, it's on my phone too.
Oh shoot, where is that coming from? Okay, it seems to have gone. Man, I hope this isn't like we're gonna have technical things throughout the entire show. We're just gonna have to ignore the clicking noise for now.
Yeah.
But anyway,
here, You want
okay.
I can switch the sound of my laptop because that seemed to work. Oh, now it's gone.
Yeah, it just seems to come and go. Maybe is your cord like dangling or something like that? Maybe it's like slapping against the mic or.
No, let me just switch to my phone. My fear is the phone is going to go out of battery. So that's
okay. Well,
that's
worst case, I've had that thing happen to me before. And when we're doing drawing, if your battery goes completely dead, you can just hold your artwork up to your face cam and you can show it that way. Yep. Okay, so okay, audience,
sorry about this.
It's okay. We're gonna work through this. Private chat. I just want to let you know. I'm gonna cut and paste the contact information here that's actually listed in the scroller here, so people can click on it. So here we go. So I'm gonna go to.
Chad was writing in private chat about his problems, and we didn't even notice because we are so unprofessional.
How's it?
Yeah, I think it's gone.
You hear me?
It's gone. Yeah. All right, let's. Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. I'm gonna say hello to. I guess we'll look at the chats. We got Saeed that said hello. We got Maria, Stevan. So thank you all very much for joining us. Hopefully we'll get some more people in here. And I also want to encourage. I mean, this is the thing about Let It Out. It is a super casual, informal interview, but we also do live drawing. So if you want to draw along with us, we encourage you to do that. Just let us know in the comments section that you are doing it, and just post it to the art show. Just let me know where you're posting the artwork so I can pull it up and I can share it. And you can get a little review there by Chad. And we're gonna look at some of his characters today. So Chad, welcome. I think we've gotten all through the technical things. So your audio is there. I'm gonna remove the screen here. So now we have just you there. Okay. All right. So here we go. We're ready to go with our Let It Out. So yeah, here we are like 13 minutes later. We're gonna start the show. So Chad, welcome. And I have, since we've become friends on, I discovered your artwork on How to Draw Comics, and Rick is just jealous because he just recently became your friend. I've been your friend longer by at least a couple weeks.
Yeah, but did you add him or did he add you?
I don't know. I think it was
I contacted Gerald because I had seen him in the video.
All right, it's okay. You're still
I can tell when I'm not needed.
You're still my most amazing host ever, Rick. Don't go crying. But I was gonna say that I discovered we mutually discovered each other's art, but I really liked what I saw from Chad it was on How to Draw Comics. That's another group here on Facebook, and I was just amazed about all of the little intricate details he was doing. And when I was talking to him during our pre-show, I said, your artwork, it reminds me of like Jim Lee, Will Spartasio, Barry Windsor Smith. I guess I'm showing kind of like my age because I was a big fan of these artists back in the 80s and then going into the 90s. Early Jim Lee, back when he was like doing Alpha Flight, and Barry Windsor Smith always been around since
back when he was still 80s. Good.
Back, you don't like Barry Windsor Smith?
No, I was talking about Jim Lee.
Oh, Jim. Oh, okay. We're not gonna turn the show into a commentary about Jim Lee, but I'm gonna tell you that Chad's artwork is just phenomenal. It's super detailed, and the guy is so meticulous. He's a very cerebral. I guess that's a good word. He's a very thoughtful artist, and it shows. I mean, he's both a writer as well as a artist, inker. He's dabbling in coloring as well. I mean, I think the guy, he's a one-man show when it comes to I don't know, he's like a quintuple threat. I don't even know what the best way to say it. But Chad, I've sung your praises here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the mic over to you, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself while I share some of the artwork that you provided me. Rick, did you want to say anything before I pull up those PDFs to show? Did you have any? He's still sad. He's still sad that you sent me a friend request versus Rick sending you a friend request.
I'm so sorry. Will you ever forgive me, Rick? I'm so sorry. Hey, you know what? Here's something. Here's the bridge to our friendship. Okay, so Gerald and I talked about this. My last name is Nuss, but generations ago it was Vondernuss. And that is either Danish or German. I'm not sure, but it could be Danish.
It sounds Dutch.
We might be related.
See?
No,
Oh,
because no,
he has a thing about Dutch is not the same as being.
Dutch is not Danish.
Oh, it's not. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Uh-oh. All right. Hey,
Here you're trying to save everything. And you're just making it work. Can we get on with this?
I'm just
Okay.
making it work. I'm so sorry.
All right.
Like,
Let's share some.
just wait
stories
until
here.
the challenge.
All right. Okay. Back to the artwork. Here we go. So this is what I was talking. This is what I was talking to you about in terms of like Chad being a very cerebral artist in terms of or creator. I'm just gonna say creator because he's the silence is his. I'm gonna say his magnum opus. It's the real deal. I mean, it's not only his baby. It's like he's pouring everything into it. And we were just discussing about what Chad is doing with the silence, and basically it is on this level. We were talking. I think it's like Tolkien. It's like this whole like level in terms of world building. I mean, Rick, quit messing with it with where we are in the order. But you know what? I'm going to tell you, I don't mind if I'm at the bottom because it's all about our guest up here. So anyway, here we're gonna go. This is what I'm talking about. If you're a fan of the Star Wars franchise or if you've read Lord of the Rings, you know what what George Lucas did, what J.R.R. Tolkien did with building worlds. And this is what I'm talking about. Chad has built a world, and it's worlds, plural.
No, not just a world, a whole damn star system.
Yes, and he has this world that he's built, and on top of that, he's already mapped out the four. It's like a musical composition. He has volume 1 through 3. It's a sonata. Adagio is volume 4 through 6. Cesaro 7 through 9, and then he's ending it with a climax, with a finale, the Rondo, volume 10 through 12. Right now, Sonata, which is the Silence one, is ready to go, and that's what we're going to talk about first. But volume 2, which is coming early next year, am I correct, Chad? It's going to be like in spring of 2021, and he's got it mapped out, so you can see that Cesaro and Rondo, the last 2 acts in this sci-fi opera. I mean, it's going to be huge. So anyway, Chad, I'm going to share some of the artwork. Before I go to the artwork part of it, did you want to talk about these particular things?
Sure. Yeah. So I made these to give myself like a framework for all the individual stories, so I know where everything's going, and it also helps me, for future issues when the characters interact with these other planets. I'll kind of know the character of the planet and that kind of thing. So that's a lot of the groundwork that just helps me with the writing and thinking through the story. It's kind of like if I were to write a novel and just writing out the outline before getting into all the details. So this is my outline. As far as the musical thing, as I was telling you yesterday, like I'm not a student of music, but I do like the idea of a symphony and how it has different movements. And I think a symphony is a real work of art, and I wanted to do that with the comic book. So many times we think of comic book as kind of disposable, something that comes out every month. It's some of them are definitely worth a lot of money and that kind of thing. But most people, I don't think, look at comic books as art. And well, I shouldn't say that, as like fine art. I should maybe say that. Yeah. And so I wanted to bring a level of seriousness to it. And so I thought organizing it around the idea of a symphony describes that. And it also helps like with a larger story. Well, even with smaller stories, you have movements in the story. You have the intro, you have the setup of the problem, then you have the solution or the climax, and then the ending at the very, at the end, obviously. So, so these planets, there's 12 planets, and if I were to give and I don't know if you need this right now, but if I were to give my like 10-second spiel, like pitch, basically it's my story is a sci-fi adventure where the main characters are trying to find out the meaning of life, which I know sounds a bit heavy and probably too much for a comic book, but I've been able to, with this framework, kind of narrow it down so it's a little bit more doable. So each one of the planets represents a different worldview, and each one of the moons as well represents a worldview. So as they're interacting with, as they go to each one of these planets, there's a sub story going on behind the scenes in which I'm trying to unpack what different worldviews and philosophies, how they actually play out. You know, it's really easy for us to say, well, you know, I love postmodernism or I love nihilism or whatever it is, but it's different when you actually have to look at what is the conclusion to that philosophy? How do you actually practically live that out? So that's what I'm going to try to do with the characters in the stories, to show the positives and negatives of each one of these worldview as they're trying to find what is the right way, like what is the actual meaning to life in this. So the other level to this as well with any art is reflective of my own life. And so that's been a question or a thing that I've thought a lot about, which I know is not like your everyday kind of thing that most people think about. I mean, I'm just like everyone else. I love playing Call of Duty and watching movies and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's like, I think most people, when it's quiet and no one else is around, sometimes, you know, a lot of times these questions kind of creep up. And for me, when I was back in college, my dad passed away, and it was one of those things that totally rocked my world, because I had not thought about anything real profound or substantial in my life up to that point. I was in college, so I was kind of living, you know. Mm-hmm. And ever since that time, you know, that question has really rocked my world. It's just been the focus of my world. Like, why are we here? What's the whole purpose to this? And my dad passed away as an atheist, and that as well challenged me to think through, like, well, what does that mean? You know, everyone assumed for him, oh, he just went to heaven and all that. But I'm like, he doesn't even believe in God. So what does that mean? So anyways, all that to say, not to get into a big rabbit trail, that question has really been the focus of my life. And so it's pouring over into this comic book. And I wanted to use this medium as a way to connect with a lot of people, because I think a lot of people really like this medium. And I think it gives you an opportunity to express, and explore those questions in a way that no other medium really does, I think. So,
yeah, I think that's one of the things that I really honed in on here, is because I guess if you look, I mean, biblical comparisons aside, it's a good story. You know, we're talking about a storytelling, you know, element in terms of like it's the characters. You told me in, you know, your quick elevator speech. It's sort of like the characters are searching for kind of like the meaning to life, creation, like what existence, you know, and I look at even this solar system here that you've put together, and it's almost like these planets they're like characters themselves, and and you were talking about them representing worldviews, and you know, this is not an uncommon way of, I mean, I wouldn't say it's not common, but you know, if you go back, if you're a Trekkie, you can kind of look in terms about like the cultural backgrounds of like the Romulans versus the Vulcans, and you know, the Federation, in terms of like what kind of universe views. Like, I was gonna say world views, but it's like you can kind of see like how they represent, you know, logic versus true emotion and things like that. So I think that this is a really unique way of, I mean, a really for your storytelling in the silence. I think this is a very, very, very cool way of doing that. You know, these planets, they all represent a certain point of view, and it's all going to be related to in the story. So now we've set the stage for where the silence is based in this epic universe. I mean, this epic, you know, star system that we have here. Let's take a look at some of the penciled artwork from here. So this is what I was telling you about. So first of all, we're going to show some penciled artwork, and here you can see that it is Chad's compositions are very dynamic. You can see those influences that I was talking about from some of those artists that I mentioned earlier. Chad, you feel free to jump in anytime here. I'm just gonna like sort of like scroll through these, but
kind of hard to jump in when you're talking, Gerald.
Take
a breath sometime.
I think Rick's still a little soppy there from like a little bit. But anyway, I'm just gonna like scroll through this. So Chad, please feel free to talk about these pencil pages.
Yeah. So these are from the first book, The Silence #1, and what you see here on this page at the bottom panel are the two main characters of the book. That's Lazarus and Naomi, and they have a whole backstory, but. I don't know. Do you want me to go? I'll save that for the drawing part.
Yeah, let's talk about like maybe your approach to like how you build panels, and like, I mean, sure. I mean, I'm obviously just so impressed with just the level of detail here, and we see like just the page composition. Rick, jump in here and let me and tell me what you see here. I see like easily how we have some strong diagonals and swooping movements that really lead your eye around here, and we see Naomi there in the background and how it's just leading your eye. So like I'm blown away from this. What do you think?
Really good flow of movement from this page in particular. I mean, I like it. You are very particular in your movements as well. You understand that a comic has to have a flow for the viewer to understand. You see, it all starts with the woman flying down, and then you decided to jump away while I'm trying to explain. and then it goes from there and goes directly into the male character, which is perfectly showing how to do a flow in a panel. It's really good.
Yeah, you don't even need word bubbles to kind of like you can kind of that's the good thing about good sequential storytelling, is that you don't if the artist does it right, you don't necessarily need the words, because you can look at it visually and see how the eye moves from panel to panel. And when I was scrolling back up, I apologize, Rick, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to show just even like Chad is using good. He knows how to break the panels too. He has this really good way of organizing the panels and then actually having it break outside the boundaries. So very clean. Unlike me, I'm a super notorious messy artist, but I just see like it's just these pencils are so tight, and we're seeing.
I really get that late 80s, mid 90s feeling from this. I really like it.
Yeah, it's a very cool throwback.
When you were talking about looking at the panels without word bubbles, part of that, I do, I guess, the Marvel way or the modified Marvel way, where I actually draw them out first before I go back in and write. So like the issue I'm working on right now, like I don't have words yet, so I'm waiting to the very end to get it all done, and then I go back in and fill in the words, because I want to make sure visually it tells a story before I put in the words. So I think that contributes a bit to being able to kind of see what goes on, like without the words, and make sure you understand the story in and of itself. Yeah. There's so many times where I'll read a story, whether it's indie or Marvel or DC, and a lot of times you just walk away like, what happened there? Even with the words, it's just confusing. And so
I agree completely. It's like even good artists that you love doesn't mean they're always really good sequential storytellers. I mean, that's why sometimes some of my favorite artists have just started to do like pinups, or they just do covers, because it's a challenge to tell a good story sequentially. And I have this page up here right now. I get a very cinematic vibe from this. Rick, do you see this too? It's sort of like you have this eye movement here that's obviously not only is he his gaze drawing you over to the right hand page, but he's actually looking down, and I'm actually getting a little vertigo looking here at this page as he's looking down. It's like you successfully captured that perspective, and you get the sense of grandeur in terms of the scale, in terms of how high he is and how tiny those people are below. And then you have this panel at the bottom, and I love how this could easily be a cinematic shot, as it pans back out from where he's standing on the edge of this building. And I love the shadow work that you did here, because this isn't so much important to know what the building is behind him, but you get a sense of what the architecture is, and it has the vista of overlooking the edge of this building. And I don't want to go into too many details. Like, it's this building that he's looking from. Is it the building that we had talked about in the pre-show in terms of it being that? No. It's not that building. Okay, no. Well, good. So I want to have to go into that. So, but anyway, I just wanted to show that. It's just really, really cool. And then here, this is like a splash page. You have this small panel, narrow panel, very successful storytelling here. We have they're on an elevator, and you utilize this really. It's just two panels, but you get the sense of setting that establishing shot, and then your two principal characters. So do you want to talk a little bit about this particular page too?
I want to say something about the last page.
Oh, the last page. Okay, let's go back.
This is one of my favorite pages, because this character here, as you can see, is pretty much an android, or mostly a robot. and he has his little robot companion next to him floating there, and he's having a conversation. And basically the question he asks, like, you know, do you think I'm human? And because you can't really tell, because he's like half human, half robot. And he makes this statement at the end that, you know, he's not human because he creates things, because he's a doctor and he's like helping people and that kind of thing. But he makes this statement, no, I'm human because I destroy things. Or that's basically paraphrase. But I love this panel because from that shot at the bottom where you're looking out, you're in the shadows, and it just creates this kind of dark feeling. And with him, like, considering, it's almost like he's as a robot, he's wrestling with his own consciousness, you know, that he has self-awareness, and what does he do with that? So I love those kind of themes where, like, in the midst of action and kind of light dialogue, you can throw in something that'll make you stop and think, you know. So
wow, I mean, this is what I was talking to you guys about in terms of this deep deep story that Chad is crafting. And now that you've told me a little bit more about it, I now look at those the reason why it's so shadowed, at least now that I'm looking at it, it's almost, it does create a sense of foreboding, you know. It's and especially now you've told me about that conversation that he's having with his droid companion here about it. It's like he's definitely contemplating. It's the deep thought moment, and then it almost looked like, you know, that's the shadows encroaching in on the panel. Yeah. Oh yeah, great. That's so good. But everybody, we got a taste of just looking at Chad's pencils. Let's look at the second thing. I mean, the third thing. You know, he's writing this, he's penciling it, and now here, these are ink works. So so I believe this is supposed to be a double page spread, but it's more exposition. Did you want to talk a little bit about this before I go into some of the sequentials?
Sure. Yeah, so this is more world building. This is in the first two that you showed at the very beginning are not in any of the books. That's just for me. But this isn't actually in the first book. And this just sets up the kind of the backstory of how that universe got populated. And it's just showing the line from this first man, which you'll learn about later, and just how from him came all these different lines, generations, and they went to all these different planets. And so that's how you find out how the 12 planets got populated. Just very quickly, just a very quick visual to give you a context of the bigger story. So
yeah, I mean, these little infographics.
Is Rick asking a question, or what's he doing?
Yeah. I got a question. If the first father only fathered sons, if the first father only fathered sons, how did the sons produce?
They're like Komodo dragons. They just
they cut off their arms, or no, they gave a rib. They gave a rib. Yeah. They took a rib and then they created females from the.
No, that's another comic, Gerald. That's from another comic.
All right, yeah, but I don't know, Chad. Did you want to address that particular question?
I think that's really, no offense, an irrelevant detail.
It is an irrelevant detail. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for irrelevance to make people laugh.
Yes. Okay. So let's keep on going here then. So even this infographic, it even reminds me. I don't know if anybody is a fan of like the recent things that they're doing with the X-Men books that Marvel's putting out. But they have the Powers of 10, the House of X, and when you read the storyline, there's little infographics, whether it's the glyphs that are talking about, and I think. So I want to say that Marvel saw the Silence One and said, you know what, we gotta level up our game. We gotta like do more world building. We gotta like do that. And I was reminded because I'm looking at this very analytical approach that you're doing, and I was like going, yeah, that reminds me of what Powers of 10 and House of X were doing, where they basically had to like come up with because where the X-Men now reside on this island of Krakoa. There's like a whole language that they've developed. They show it's so complicated. They talk about all these different timelines and things like that. And I think I'm even though these are author notes for you as the artist, I can't help but think that you are really thinking the same way. And yeah, Marvel ripped you off. They decided, hey, I got to be like Chad. So here we go. We're looking at some of the inked artwork here. So if you were impressed with those pencils, get ready for some inks. So here's the third power of Mr. Chad. So here, I'm just going to scroll through this. Just let me know what you want. If you want me to stop, you want to talk a little bit about it. You know?
I mean, this scene here, you can see Naomi and Lazarus up at the top panel, and they're walking into the middle of the city, and the city is celebrating Jubilee, which is a festival that they hold every 50 years, and it represents for these people, they've all received enhancements to help them live better or cure diseases, and really what they think in their society is eliminate death, which is a important theme in the second book. But they're going to celebrate, and so here Lazarus and Naomi are going to join them, and on the way through their dialogue, Lazarus is a bit more pessimistic about it, whereas Naomi is much more thankful for it, just because she did receive the enhancements that help her live. They both did, but she has a more positive outlook on it than he does. So that's just following their discussion on that.
Yeah, and I think that as we get into the live drawing part of this, where you're going to talk a little bit about these two characters, it actually shows in terms of like, I can't help but think Naomi naive, and you're like, with Lazarus, aside from his his name in terms of the implications or the connotations of his name, if he is like Lazarus, he's going to have a different view, obviously than Naomi in terms of like, she's naive, to this greater story that you're going to talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
So here we get into the part where you're talking about this epic, sci-fi epic, here. And so now we're off planet, and we get this, look from from outer space here. So you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, I gave you the pictures in the wrong order because this happens before the last one. It's okay. It's no problem.
We don't need to look at the story part of it, because you can talk about that later on.
Yeah,
let's just focus on the art. Yeah, the art part of it. So it doesn't have to necessarily be in the order, but we just look at the.
This is one of the opening scenes, and this is his name is Colonel Graves, it's. I don't know a lot about Robert Graves, the author, but part of the storyline is he's modeled after him, and so later on, I'll do more research and tie him in a little bit more. But either way, he's hovering above the planet. There's a war going on that the people on the surface of the planet don't know about, and in this scene, before he engages the war, he's having some reflection just about his life and that kind of thing. So
is that this scene? Is this the reflection?
Yeah. So that's within the cockpit, and he's thinking more about like why is he there? Why is he fighting this fight? What part does he have in the fight? So
and again, when I keep on going back to this very cinematic look, I mean, I look at these, and these could easily be storyboards for a movie. I love this upshot here, and I can already fill in the blanks. I mean, this is not color, it's black and white here, but I can see like this I can see the technology and the it's like you can hear the humming of holographic displays and the wiring and things that's all virtual. So very well done for black and white. Oh, here we got a question from Maria. Maria says, I'm curious, does Chad edit it again on the Photoshop after the traditional inking? Sorry, I hope I'm not interrupting. No, we encourage questions from our audience.
By all means.
Question
away.
Chad, so what do you think? What would you like to answer that?
Well, when I did this issue about 3 years ago, and I didn't have digital, so no, this is just straight traditional ink, and then I scanned it in, and then I use Manga Studio 5 and to put the words in, and I did that on my laptop, so I didn't have a digital tablet at that point, so it's very difficult to edit. So on a laptop with your finger, it's very difficult to do that. So no, these are not touched up. They're just all traditional. And then,
that is strictly old school, but that's testament to your skill. And this is what I was talking about in terms of even more of this detail. This is the part, when I looked at this, I thought of like Barry Windsor Smith, because he did I mean, just the way your strokes are, and Barry Windsor Smith was he just did like it's not just straight up like hatching. It's these really fluid organic shapes that are melded together. And I was like, yeah, you can tell I'm a big fan of Barry Windsor Smith. I mean, he did some really cool stuff with Conan and Conan the Barbarian and the X-Men and like so many different things, Marvel properties. But yeah, phenomenal. You want to talk about your approach for this? Because this is just, there's so much going on here, but it reads to me really well.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. You're very complimentary, and I really appreciate that. I with this page in particular, I actually did 2 versions of it. And the first version I had done, a year or 2 before this, and I liked it, but it needed improvement. So I came back in and just redid it. And explosions honestly are much more difficult than you think they would be, because you're just like, well, it's just clouds. What are you doing? Whatever. But they're very difficult to pull off. And so that's why I had to do this twice, because it was difficult. And it's a bit unrealistic because it wouldn't explode in space like this. But beyond that, it gives for a good picture. So, I mean, I don't know as far as I don't know what to say about composition. The only thing I would say about this is, if you notice the face in the upper left-hand corner, I took that as the cover. And the reason why, and you'll see it later because I colored it, and I don't know where you put it in the slides, but I use that face because in space sound doesn't travel, and the title of the book is The Silence. And so here he's screaming out, and it appears that he's about to die, and no one can hear him. And it goes along with his previous reflections of, he felt, so alone out here in space, and what is he doing? He said, there's a line in there that I wrote that it says that basically his cockpit is almost like it's either a throne or a grave. And he doesn't know which one he prefers, because at that point he's just like surviving. And here you see this scene it's the end of the opening scene. So it's almost like when you see in a movie, they'll do that previous scene before the title. And this is what that is. So it appears that he's about to die. He's screaming out for help, but no one can hear him. And then you transition to down to the planet. So
very, very powerful. It's like the cockpit becomes his coffin. And I like how this, you have his eyes, it flows in here with these ships, and then you have the explosion. You're right, it's very difficult to do that. I mean, unless I think it falls into that thing, is that when you see, for me, when I see good art, it's like you just appreciate it. And then when you have to do it yourself, then you realize how difficult it is, or if it's done wrong, if it's like, that's when you notice and go like, wow, that's like, that's, even if, there's not going to be this type of explosion, I guess, in outer space, but who's been to outer space? It's your fantasy. You're just telling the story, and it's really good storytelling. So let's get through here again. So here we're switching up perspective here, and this is just another example of insane detail. So you have this figure up here, and this is really giving that sense of grandeur in terms of like scale. You have this tiny figure here in the bottom, and you get this looking up into the sky, and it's a static image, but it feels like it's moving. So do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, I don't want this to sound like a brag or anything, but I really love this page. This is one of my favorite pages, just because of the detail, but it also poses this scene, and we'll discuss this more when we get into the character. But she's blind, and so the statement in this page is, to be blind is to be like God, because she can create things with her mind. And the question is, if God can make all these amazing things with his mind, why did he make me so deformed, is basically her question. And she's saying that as she's killing all of these robots that have come to destroy her and Lazarus. And this is a scene right before we saw in the opening where she comes to rescue Lazarus. This is her destroying all of those robots that have come to fight them. And it's another one of those. I really like doing that with either a splash page or a panel. You just pose that question that in the midst of the story that you're enjoying on one level, it throws in there kind of a deeper thing that you have to sit back and think, oh, I didn't think about it like that. Or it's the kind of story, what I aim for is working on multiple layers so that you can read it once, you like it, the characters are interesting, the story's awesome, but then you go back and you see more stuff. And That's what I'm aiming for. Not successful all the time, getting better, but that's what I'm trying to do with these stories.
Well, I think you've definitely pulled it off. I mean, the use of negative space, and you putting the words into those areas. But so let's keep on going here, and we have another sequential here. So and I'm just gonna like scroll through this because I mean, we see some really cool, like from a composition standpoint, in terms of like how you're using some hatching and some, you're not using conventional panels, and you break things out a little bit. Just let me know if you want to stop, you want to talk a little bit about them. But I just really, I want to give the audience a flavor. So here we have some more action scenes, and you can see how he's flipped things around, where Naomi's on one side and goes to the other, and then of course it goes into where she's in the middle. And you, like I said, you just get a sense of scale and action here. Like in this particular one, did you want to talk a little bit about how you organized, why you flip things around here?
Yeah, I was trying to convey that she was destroying robots on both sides, that she was feeling like enclosed, especially with that last panel where they're just all around her. I wanted to give a sense of like they're outnumbered, but she's still able to fight them all off. And this goes back to their story as well, how she's rescuing Lazarus, and we'll talk about that more later. One side thing I wanted to say, you were talking about, you can keep flipping, but the one thing you were saying about stuff that you appreciate, that you see, and then when you do it, it's a lot more difficult. Action lines for me are very difficult to do. And, I look at someone like Brett Booth, who does tons of action lines, but he makes it look really good. But when I start doing a lot of it, it starts getting real messy, and it's it's really difficult to pull off well. And so I don't do them a whole lot. That's just one of those things I was thinking about. Like explosions and action lines are those things that you just take for granted when you look at a comic book, but they are really difficult to do well. So I don't do them a whole lot. So,
well, when you do it, you pull it off really well. And here, this is an emotional scene too. You get the sense of like. We saw those action sequences. We saw those those moments of deep thought. Even with that android character, the doctor. Where we have like introspective thought here. But here we have this thing where Naomi is rescuing Lazarus here, and you definitely get a sense of the drama. In this as well. This motion as it's going through here. So, here Chad doesn't always have to do action scenes. We have here it's a dialogue page. And you get just really good storytelling. I love how you have this kind of the upshot where they're looking at, and you're using the graphic elements of the building here in this last panel, and it's leading your eye upward as well, or as it frames it. So just breathtaking artwork. Rick, did you have anything you want to talk about or you want to say about any of this stuff?
I like it. It's very 90s. It's very, as you said, well thought out. It seems like you spend a lot of time thinking about the setup before you even start putting pen to paper, so to speak, and then you master your plan before you even start. Make sketches. Yeah, interrupt me. Go ahead, Gerald.
Oh no, I was going to say that Roy is agreeing with you, Rick. Just pure energy. Just really cool. Yeah. So finish your thought. I'm sorry. I just wanted to interject.
My thought is finished. I like it. It's very 90s and very good action. Very good. You really take advantage of storytelling with the flow through the panels, and as we've have other people here coming from other comics. We've had Justin Acosta here, also badass artwork.
Thank you.
We got Sam Noir with the very well designed page, and Sam Noir works with some of the really great people, really great artists when it comes to designing pages. So that's those two. Not saying the others aren't as good compliments, but those two are good compliments to give and to receive. And I agree with them. All your details could so easily. You're like on the line of everything, of all the details becoming too messy. You're just teetering on that line every page, and I love it.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we're going to hint to in terms of like what would just bring that find that balance of over rendering or over detailing things, is that you're right there on the edge of showing just enough detail, but this is going to be like good foreshortening or foreshadowing for what we're going to talk a little bit about, what you're going to be bringing to like the remastered volumes in terms of like some of the things that's going to bring it to another level. But we got to see all these inked pages, and we're getting close to doing our first live drawing. But I just wanted to scroll through this real quickly. And now these are all posters that you have done, and this is just further example of just you get to see the talent here in terms of the exquisite inking, just everything from like really whether it's verticals and horizontals to like these really fluid organic lines. You have a good sense of line weights, and just things flow. I mean, you have things that look like water effects and explosion effects, and swirling things, and it's just the texturing, just very beautiful artwork here. And this is actually one that I really thought, oh, this is like Bernie Wrightston and Barry Windsor Smith. It reminds me of that. I look at this and it reminds me of Will Spartacio. Just some, Rick was talking about that late 80s, 90s vibe. You'd be right at home with Image Comics in the 90s, doing stuff like this. Just phenomenal artwork. And this is just brutal. I was like looking at this and I go, oh, that's a guy's head. So very, very brutal. And then just some phenomenal artwork. So anyway, we're gonna get into the
lots of emotion, lots of emotions in your artwork as well,
yes.
which I really love. A lot of artists doesn't really grasp that, and you just seem to nail it.
I really appreciate that. Thank you guys very much. Very complimentary, and it's funny because I think every artist probably wrestles with imposter syndrome at some point, and so there's a lot of times where I look at that and I see all the things that I would have done differently, or I'm like, I don't know about that or that. So I really appreciate your feedback, and it's very encouraging. So.
Yeah, and it's also meant, I think that they're like, when you were talking about imposter syndrome, I think that, often as artists is that we're all searching for our own identity in terms of like coming up with our own unique style. And when I say it reminds me of those artists, I say it just reminds me of them. You're your own artist. You have your own style here, and I see the influences, but it's uniquely Chad. So I just really like that. So hey, we're gonna go into here we are. We're going. It's like 1:53. Where we had those little hiccups at the beginning of the show, but now we're gonna get into the bread and butter part of the show, where we get to do some live drawing.
Oh, we're gonna eat bread and butter.
Oh yeah, you didn't get. I sent it to you in the mail. Did you get it? Oh, it's it's not the best bread because but it's just something I wanted to do for you, Rick. So check that out. All right, so we're gonna do our first live drawing challenge, and as the format of our show, we usually do 3 live drawings, and the first one is going to be it's going to be one character from The Silence, which is what we just talked about, and Chad gave me these. These are the 4 main characters here, and I believe our first drawing is going to be of Lazarus, which is this character that's the second character right here. Yeah. And I'm just going to, go ahead and before we start drawing, I'm just going to show these pictures real quick, and as we get into the drawing segment, you can, Rick is going to like maybe ask you a few questions, and you're going to have to do a little bit of multitasking while I try and draw along with you. But this audience, this is who Lazarus is. And, just make note of this really neat armor, because I think Chad is going to touch on that. And, here's a nice combination shot with both Naomi and Lazarus. Here's a solo shot. And I'm not going to show the last one because that's Naomi, but I just want to give our audience a feel for who Lazarus is and what his unique, his profile, the silhouette of this character. So that being said, let me put this off to the side, and I'm going to.
I have to agree with Roy here because I've been seeing it as well. There's a lot. I see a good deal of Michael Turner in your stuff as well. I have a feeling you are a fan of him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up on the 90s, all the Image stuff. So like when you say you see that in there, I spent hours and hours and hours learning from those guys. As far as like, I think you asked in the beginning, like personal info about me. When I was younger, I got the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, that book.
Great book.
And
who doesn't?
Yeah. And so in middle school, I would literally sit at my kitchen table for hours drawing from that book. And then when I got a couple years later, when Image really came out in the 90s, like I would buy everything. Jim Lee, Will Sportaccio, Mark Silvestri, Turner, all those guys. And like, I wouldn't read the books. I would just look at the artwork and just see how they drew figures and that kind of thing. And there's a bit of a danger to that because you start picking up their way of drawing, and you can skip over learning appropriate or a correct like proportion and figures and things like that. Mm-hmm. So you have to be careful about that. But at the same time, like you can really learn storytelling and how to bring, something dynamic to your artwork. So
well, apparently you studied it well.
That influence came from for sure. So
okay, so let's start the clock, Rick. I have 1:56. I guess you want to go with Chad. You feel good about maybe 15 minutes? We'll start with 15 minutes for this, and
we'll see how much I get in 15 minutes.
Okay.
I'm like you, very slow. So
we're just trying to get a flavor for the art style. So it doesn't have to be super polished. We're just trying to like get.
Doesn't have to be super polished. I mean, have you seen Gerald's work?
Yes.
Okay.
So there we go. So you know what not to do. Don't do Gerald stuff. So Rick is going to be our timekeeper. Rick, give us a 5-minute warning, so that way I can kind of like you can get me being really frantic and like start drawing fast. But Rick, I'll hand the reins over to you, and you can just sort of like pick Chad's brain here in terms of the design of Lazarus. Go for it.
Well, I mean, I like his design very much, and I'm curious to see if my ideas of influence is the right one. So I just straight want to jump into it, Chad. What gave you the idea of the Lazarus armor and Lazarus himself? Who is he?
Yeah, so I really like the idea of superheroes with a flaw or a weakness or something that they struggle with. And with Lazarus, the main idea behind him is he grew up in an abusive home, and the planet atmosphere was also dangerous for him. And so when he was a child, he got pushed out into this atmosphere, and it burned out his lungs. So he required this breathing apparatus for him to survive. But the catch with him is he has superhuman strength, but if he uses it, then it breaks that apparatus and then he dies. So he's constantly wrestling with wanting to help people, or especially in his relationship with Naomi, protect her, but finds that he can't, because if he does, then he'll die. And in the first issue, you kind of see it without giving too much of a spoiler away. He goes to rescue her, and then as you saw in that panel where he's lying down and she's kind of rescuing him, he was not able to help her. So that's kind of his backstory. And I like that idea of, that wrestling with like who I am, what I can do, but I can't use it.
I mean,
put my life at risk.
That must really be a powerful struggle to have. Know that you have the super strength to save people, but if you do, you'll die almost instantly. I mean, having that in your head all the time.
Yeah.
That you were meant to be a superhero and save people, but you just can't.
Yeah.
That must be a struggle with a little more than the usual one, and I really like that.
Well, thank you.
His suit is basically. Oh, you were about to say something?
No, I was just thanking you for that compliment.
Okay. Well, you're welcome.
I'm trying to rescue our relationship since I offended you.
It's too late. It's too late, Mr. Dutchman. So he now I think after I just made the father joke, I think we even.
Okay.
So his suit is basically based upon keeping him alive more so than protecting him in the other way, or is it also armor? Is it only super strength he have, or is it also my English, my accent always fucks this word up. Invulnerability.
Invulnerability.
Yeah.
That's it. That was good.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah. No, it's just to keep him alive.
Yeah, with his lung issues, his asthma.
Yeah, that's what I was telling when I had the pre-show with Chad. It's almost like he's like Darth Vader, right? I mean, he has that.
Yeah.
It keeps him kind of alive, and he can't really use his powers because it'll destroy the same thing that's keeping him alive, right? So it's that whole conflict here. So yeah, that's very very neat in terms of like just the dilemma that he has in terms of before he can help people.
Well, my English, I try to have my English is normally good, Maria. It's just those weird words that I have a problem with sometimes, like invulnerability.
I understood you, and I think Chad did too.
Yeah, I got it.
So his so the armor looks kind of Roman in a way. With the I'm sensing that it's golden armor, golden and black for some reason. That's what I have in my head. I haven't seen any colors of it, so that's just guesswork.
I've not colored him yet. So I recently colored Naomi, but I've not colored him yet. So I don't really.
So golden is what I'm telling you to be.
What's that?
He's giving you art direction.
I'm telling you it should be golden, Mr. Dutch guy.
Okay.
Like, all kidding aside, it has that Roman feel to it, with the white and gold or black and gold feeling. The slightly majestic look to it, as the name also appears from Lazarus. That was Roman as well, or Greek at least. Lazarus Pit. I do believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but I do believe that. So it would only be fitting if it also looked. But you're the artist, so I'm not gonna wink, wink. I'm not.
Lazarus is actually a biblical character. In the story, yeah, not. Well, I guess it was around the Roman time period, but Lazarus is the. You were talking about, like, in DC Comics, they talk about the Lazarus Pit. And the Lazarus Pit is actually in reference to that biblical story where Lazarus is risen from the dead. He dies, and then he comes back to life. So yeah, Chad, did you want to talk a little bit about, is there a deeper meaning behind his name, or why you chose his name to be Lazarus?
It is a reference to the biblical character. There's not really like a super deep meaning other than the idea of him dying and coming back to life. So, like, as you can see in the first issue, we looked at the last panel there where it seems as though he's died, but the very last line, Naomi says, "Lazarus, you will rise again." And so there's a lot of that underlying in the story, those kind of references. So.
Ed Williams says hi, Carol.
Oh, hey, Ed. Ed has always been on our show since day one in terms of, like, I believe, I had to go back and check, but I think we're like 20 plus episodes into Let It Out. So I'm surprised we lasted this long. So thank you, Ed, for dropping by.
Well, I kind of brought it back to life. So.
Exactly. I'm Lazarus because I was dying, and then Rick was Naomi.
Yeah.
He brought me back to life.
What? I'm not that feminine. Come on.
I was just like trying to.
But
I'm trying to draw some parallels to our guest creation.
Gerald is surprising.
Run with it.
Gerald is surprising me today. He's already gone to inking. I think he's been challenged by enough of former artists of that's outpaced him with their art. So he just felt like maybe he had to do. Well, you'll never go to get Jason Fowler fast. So.
Oh no, I won't. And I fooled you. This isn't inking. This is just me using a darker pencil. I'm still not on that level of our guests, but it's not about me. It's about our guest work.
See, I was trying to put you in a better light here, but okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that was a ball that you threw up to me, and I totally missed it. I stumbled completely on it. But yeah, I do really like this character design. His armor is very unique looking, and it's one of those things is that it's like it's simple but it's complex at the same time. I'm seeing all these shapes. Yeah, go ahead.
I like how it looks both. Like you took some ideas from some more futuristic subnautic armor that we've seen in movies, and then mixed it with to work within space as well, like putting those two together. Really great idea, and there's just something about the armor that stands out, but you also make it look so normal, heroic, in lack of better words. So how long did it take you to design this one? Now you're saying yourself you're very cerebral and very thinking it through before you even make the first line. So how long did it take to design this one?
Well, when I was in high school, high school and middle school, I had a group of characters called the Silent Knights with a K. So they had always been there, and they had different designs and that kind of thing, and a few different characters that have changed over the years. And then it was while I was in college that the story took a bit of a more serious turn, and I called it The Silence at that point. And that's when the design really started to come together for him. So it's been around for quite a while. Every time I draw it, it looks a little bit different. So over time, it'll have its changes, but relatively stayed, pretty much.
Well, your uniforms have to be changed sometimes, after all. So it would only make sense.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, I almost took it as like his armor is like. It's like it's like
5
a living
minutes to
living
go,
armor.
by the way.
Yeah. Oh, 5 minutes. All right. So this is where I start getting frantic. But it's like his armor is like to me it's like living. So it's kind of like maybe it does look different from slightly different from scene to scene. But that's kind of the thing about it. It's a part of him. It's his breathing apparatus. So it's like it's actually like living. So it doesn't, to me, that it looking a little different from here and there is not necessarily a bad thing.
That's very kind. For me, it's just being lazy.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, because I can tell you are lazy artists, aren't you? That was sarcasm. That was sarcasm, by the way. Calling you lazy, calling yourself lazy after what you just shown us is just wow.
I know.
Now I feel bad. Thank you. we were just about to become good friends again, Chad, and then you just knocked it down. Smacked me right back down.
So I know this is a little bit off subject. Can you explain to me why Dutch is different than Danish?
Because Dutch is a whole other country.
What?
Yeah, people that speak Dutch are from the Netherlands.
Oh, okay.
People that speak Danish are from Denmark.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. I mean, I know where.
Okay, Carol, don't answer because
I'm trying to. It's our guest.
He's the guest. I have to be nice.
Yes, you do. So.
I mean, you're not the first one, so don't worry about it.
Hey, well, I think there's some funny things that go around about Americans too, in terms of like everybody from.
Oh, think?
Yeah,
God.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is there's always funny things about Americans. Like, I think that I talk to my cousins and my international friends, and sometimes they talk to me and they go, "So you're from New York?" And I go, "No." You're from LA? No. There are other cities
let's just say the last 4 years have been the most entertaining 4 years of the American TV show you ever sent out to the Europeans.
That's true. You guys,
we've been very entertained by you guys lately. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I think that is true. We gave lots of entertainment to the entire world, you know. So.
And right, we are almost up. We're almost up. There's 1 minute left, guys.
1 more minute. Okay, so let me just try and darken up a few lines here. How you feeling there, Chad? Do you want to do a little bit, have a little bit more time, or do you feel like
okay? I think you pretty much got the deal.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably.
It's not about finishing. It's just about having fun.
Exactly. Well, we're gonna have fun.
I mean, when it comes to Gerald, it's about finishing because he got to get good at some point.
Every week, I try and get better, and you know, Rick has been holding my hand, trying to make. You know what, Gerald? You're gonna one day you're gonna get better.
One day you'll be mediocre.
It's nice to have goals.
Yeah.
I'm shooting straight for me. You know, I'm going past, you know, pathetic and shooting straight for
mediocrity.
For mediocrity. Mediocrity is what I'm going for.
That's the American way.
Oh! Don't go there. Don't go there.
Okay, time is up.
Time is up. Okay, all right. Okay, let's solo out.
Can you do that, because I'm sorry, I need to go take.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Look at that. Here we go. Got a taste of like Lazarus here, and I love the upshot here, and it's almost like he's looking down, and the flowing part. Like I didn't get a chance to work on the lower torso, but I like, you know, it's all this technology that's going on at the top of his body, and then you have this flowing part, you know, underneath his rib cage. So I think that's a nice like fusion of like technology and, you know, organic, the organic part of it. But yeah, what do you think, Rick? Rick had to drop out for a second. Anyway, I just love what you're doing here, and I think it gives it, like I said, it gives our audience a flavor of what, you know, what's what you can expect. And, you know, this again is something that Chad did in 15 minutes, and you already know that you give him like 5 more minutes, you give him an hour, you give him a day, and you know it's just going to keep on getting just better and better and better. So I just love what you're doing here, and I'm going to show mine real quick. Let's go back to here, and
nice.
What I did here, I don't know. It's like I definitely got the whole, like, he's Superman, but he's Superman, and you know his kryptonite is his power, basically. He's still strong, but every time he uses it, it could kill him. So quick and dirty interpretation here, but I love, like, even though he has that whole mask part of him, I like how you made it transparent, you know, because you can still see, you can still see his emotions. You can still see him when he's talking and things like that. But you know, it's just one of those things, is that this is such a unique, to me, unique armor design, character design. So love getting into that. So let me get this out here. Oh, go ahead. Keep on talking.
I'm pretty sure you are the first and only person that's drawn one of my characters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
You did a great job.
Oh, thank you. You know what? After this show, we're gonna have, like, I would hope,
Maria agrees. You did a good YouTube work. Did a good job. I mean, no, Maria, Gerald did a mediocre job.
Oh, yes.
Don't push his ego.
Yeah, well, you know, mediocrity is what I'm shooting for, because I'm leveling up from pathetic. Pathetic was my standard.
So Gerald is the first one. Wow, well, what a disappointment, huh?
We're gonna get a lot. Oh my god!
Sorry, but that one.
Chad, this is what I have to deal with. I don't know why I have him on the show. It's like I'm a glutton for punishment. It's like, you know what? Today I feel pretty good, but you know what? I'm gonna call up Rick. Rick, why don't you take me down a couple notches?
No, you don't even have to ask. I just do it.
I know. What are friends for? But on a serious note, I really appreciate Rick and you know, stuff like that. But you were saying, Chad, what you're saying?
I was just gonna say that's what the Dutch do. So I mean.
Oh no! It's war. It's war.
Hey, I tried to make our relationship and our friendship solid, and you just wouldn't let me. So I had to defend Gerald.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, look at the eyes. The
I know.
eyes. It's like, but you know what? I think Chad. I think we just signed our death.
You
our
have
death note.
made an enemy of
because this is part of the show where we get into to number 2, which is the Rick challenge.
Yeah.
Oh, here Maria's like, I wish I was there. I don't know, Maria. You'd have to like probably keep Chad and Rick apart. In fact, maybe this is what I gotta do. I gotta go. Okay, it's like you guys, just But anyway,
I'm going down here.
So Rick has discovered what I've been doing because I've been playing shuffleboard with a lot of these things, and he's discovered I can move Gerald just like Gerald moves me. So anyway, we're going into like live drawing number 2. So this is the challenge that Rick loves because it's called the Rick Challenge, and I told Chad, I said, hey, are you okay with this? Because we can do like a fan art, we can do maybe another original character from the Silence, and he's like, and I described to him what the Rick Challenge is, which is it's a variety of different things, everything from dexterity challenges where we have to draw with our left hand, or we have to draw upside down, or things like that, to like or like fusion drawings, or ones where he throws his complete curveballs and he picks characters that we both don't know of and we have to draw from his description. So Rick promised me he's been thinking all night, all day, like, and now he's probably level.
It took me 2 minutes to find something good.
Okay. Well, I think he probably thought, well, I gotta change it up.
I'm that great after all. I mean, right. I found an easy-ish challenge, but that was before I was called Dutch and started a war. So
okay, here we go. Okay, Rick.
I'll be nice. So I've been watching old school Muppet shows lately because why not, right?
Yes.
The old school Muppets, Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy and all that. So I thought, would it not be fun to mix, like, we do comics here, so let's mix it together. So how about a Muppet dressed up as a superhero of your choosing?
Okay, so
you choose the Muppet and you choose the superhero yourself.
Okay. Wow, I thought you would give us a little bit something more specific, like the Muppet part. I'm definitely feeling. I've never drawn a Muppet before.
No, because this is creative challenge. So now I'm gonna see how creative you are to think on the spot with something fun.
Okay, all right. So any Muppet. Okay, so while we're doing this, Rick, you just you've taken me down a couple notches already. It's time for you to.
So let's say 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay, so I want you to bring up Chad. I want you to make him feel like the great guest that he is.
But he's not a great guest.
He is an awesome guest.
No, I'm kidding. You know what? All kidding aside, you got a quirky mind in the good way, and that's important when you're both a writer and an artist when it comes to comics, because you need to think outside the box, and you didn't just think outside the box. You thought outside the fucking solar system.
He took it to another level.
Yeah. He took it to a whole other plane of existence, and to have the brain to set up a whole freaking solar system. I can't even. If I ever wanted to draw a comic myself, I'll use historical facts to make it work, because my brain is not quirky enough to come up with like those things myself. You just put up a whole freaking it's baffling me. And then the way you set it up with the whole planet system and how in detail you're going with everything, it's not just a comic. You could write novels of this, like Game of Thrones styles, big time novels and all that. I'm really, really fascinated about it. You quirky mind.
Well, I will take that as
a peace offering.
Apology
for all of the offensive things that you've said to me.
I have said
today.
no. I have only spoken truth.
And I feel like our relationship has been brought to a whole new level. So
yeah, it's mediocre now.
Hey! I can only occupy that space. He's above mediocrity. Yeah.
So I see a Kermit from chat here, and
Oh, you're spoiling it. I kind of wanted it to be a surprise. So
I'm kind of describing what I'm seeing.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm seeing a very freckled white head. Oh God, that's even paler than me. So who were your favorite Muppets, Chad?
That is a great question. The immediate thing that comes to my mind is the two film critics that sit up on the balcony.
Yeah.
No. I know my favorite. So my job, my part-time job, is I work as a line chef at a restaurant. Yes. So obviously the Swedish chef.
the Swedish chef. He's not from Denmark. And he's not Dutch. He's Swedish.
Do you not know about Danish and Swedish history, Chad?
I know.
Do you have to mock me?
I know, because I actually got educated because I had a couple of conversations with Rick offline, and he definitely told me about more of the history, and so I've learned that steer clear of Sweden, the Swedish and Denmark. We don't want to like cross those wires ever. I don't ever want to do that.
There's a reason that we still have a law in Denmark that if the water between Sweden and Denmark freezes over, we are allowed to grab our weapons and pillage them. And that's still a law in Denmark. We are still allowed to do that in Denmark if it happens.
With and the crossover with like Viking battle axes.
Yeah, or pitchforks or whatever you can grab.
Right.
I was educated in the American public school system, so we didn't learn anything about any other countries. So
I was about to say, yeah, you're excused, Mr. American.
I know that is such a sad truth because when we talk about world history, we hardly get to like World War II in history. They don't even talk about any of the other like conflicts or things.
The only thing you say about World War II when it comes to the American teachings is we won the thing. Go America.
Well, we did.
I mean, so in America, are you taught that it was Americans that shot Hitler?
No, we're not.
I heard that. I heard that story from some time ago that Americans were taught that it was America that ended the war by shooting the German leader.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one. I don't know. Have you heard that? Have you heard that one, Chad? That we got Hitler? That we shot Hitler?
I get all my history lessons from movies. So no, I think in
so you think Han Solo? So you think Han Solo did it?
Han Solo didn't do it? I thought he did. Yeah, it is kind of sad about that because I have to agree that history, geography, world geography. I think that sometimes those things are very lacking in American education system. But you gotta just like if the school system isn't teaching it, you gotta like find other ways to educate yourself on it. Educate, and you also got like with the Chad, if we had the internet back when we were going to school, I mean, gosh, could you imagine? We would have no excuse.
You would have been smart then.
See, this is what I love about Rick. I just love his so much positivity that just comes out of this guy. He makes me feel brand new. If I feel down, I know who to talk to. So.
Just to kick you even further. So you didn't tell me, Diar, who's your favorite Muppet?
I like
yourself.
Well, I guess now you eliminated me from it. I don't know who I can say. But honestly, I like Kermit. I thought Kermit was it's not easy being green. I think I'm not green. I'm green in terms of like I don't have as much skill as our guests. I'm quite the amateur. One could say mediocre, but I try. Kermit, just he's definitely I like Kermit, and I like I'm trying to think about who Gonzo. Very cool. Just crazy.
Yeah, Gonzo.
Gonzo is one of those guys that doesn't really care about kind of like the honey badger. Honey badger don't care. I think definitely Gonzo would just do it no matter what.
The Gonzo is the blue guy that likes pain, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that would be that's fitting for me. Because
that I was about to say. So it's fitting for you. My guy has always been Meeker. Or Meek. Is it Meek or Meeker? The
Beaker.
Beaker, yeah.
The guy with he has like
yeah.
that little orange, the narrow head with that little.
Yeah, he's always been my favorite.
And he doesn't really. He's like just makes noises, doesn't he? He's like Mr. Anxiety. He's like. So why do you like Beaker? What is your?
I don't know. He always made me laugh, even though I couldn't understand him. He was the most. I think he was because we couldn't understand him. He was the most emotional, like in the way he was portrayed with the puppet movement and all that. He had to show more emotion with his body language, so to speak, than the others. So I think that's why I liked him the most.
So the Muppets, are they really big in Denmark? Like I mean,
not anymore. I mean, they were back in the day, like when they were in America as well. It's just, I just felt like, hey, I haven't seen the Muppets yet, the original, the Muppet Show in a long time. So I decided to do it. It's always entertaining until Sam the American Eagle comes in and ruins everything with his American nice thought processes.
I was actually a bigger fan of the Muppet Babies. Did you guys watch that cartoon?
Yeah.
I like them. I can still hear the Muppet Babies theme song in my head. And what I liked about that is that it was all about imagination. They would go on these adventures, and they would be like sometimes Star Wars based, sometimes they'd be Indiana Jones.
Muppet Babies. That really doesn't. Hang on. Let me just Google it. I might have seen it, but.
Yeah, look that up, Rick. I think that might be your cup of tea. you might like it.
No, I don't think I've seen that. I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, it was an 80s cartoon. I think it actually was pretty successful. I mean,
it was popular.
Yeah, I can't be the only one. You know what? If that was the Rick challenge, if it was, we didn't even talk. We talked about that in the pre-show. if it got reversed, that's what I could have done. I could have thrown a curveball at Rick if Rick was going to be. That's what I'm going to tell.
I have seen it before, but not like it hasn't been a show here in Denmark, but I've seen it before.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot the drummer Animal. I love him as well.
That's right. I think Animal would probably be more something that would be more Rick style.
Okay, so 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. Okay.
It's really looking good, guys.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to see what.
Yeah, well, you haven't really let go of your Wonder Woman, have you?
Hey, don't spoil it. I wanted it to be
a not a spoil. I mean, to comment on what you're drawing while you draw is a good thing, isn't it?
I wanted to follow up a little bit in terms of our guests from last week as well, because we had Justin Acosta and we had Amarius, and we had talked about Borbane, how it's the war on the mutant pigs and things like that. So I figured it'd be kind of fun to bring Miss Piggy along with Wonder Woman, because
you wanted to redeem yourself after the Darkwing Duck Wonder Woman.
You mean was it Wonder Woman cosplaying as Howard the Duck, as you so famously see, this is what every time that I feel like I'm down, I can count on Rick to come up with the best critical analysis for my artwork. Wonder Woman cosplaying as Howard the Duck. I mean, I don't know where he came up with that.
No, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. That was one of our guests that said that.
Oh, I just heard you. I just heard you say it, so I immediately associated with it. That.
Yeah, I just repeated it to make sure that you heard it.
Okay. He said, I can't let this go because Gerald, he may have not read it, but I'm sure is going to say it to him. Make sure that he does. So how much time do we have? Are we what are we looking at?
Yeah, still 5 minutes. When
5 minutes,
I said
okay.
5 minutes, it was actually 6 minutes, so I lied a
Okay.
little.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Chad.
I don't know where's Gerald at. Oh, you're pretty good. You're getting
Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
Pretty good as
I'm
well.
trying. Yeah, I try not to look at what our guests are doing, and so I can be surprised. Because if I do, I'm probably going to stop drawing and just be in awe of what our guests are doing. So
Yeah,
I gotta
you tend to do that.
I have to like keep my head down and just keep on drawing. So
There's
So-
also Roy Mercado has been in the chat here speaking both about Philippine mythology and a little bit of he's with the whole American history thing. He said when reading or watching history, always take it with a grain of salt. After all, it's the winner that's write the history.
yeah,
That's true.
took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say that same thing. Is that
But you didn't. Roy did.
Roy beat me to it, right?
So how much when I just got reminded how much are your comic story, Chad, based on mythology and like religion in overall?
I take the same approach as like C.S. Lewis or Tolkien with Lord of the Rings, where there's definitely, from my perspective, a Christian perspective that informs the story, but it's not overtly like that. Like I'm not trying to throw it down someone's throat. It's more of I'm just saying that's where I'm operating out of from my perspective, and I'm trying to interact with other perspectives and worldviews as well. And there's definitely like some overt, like, oh, I can tell that's coming from a Christian perspective. And then there's a lot of like symbolism that you might not catch unless you really look deeper into the story. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because I think a lot of people kind of get a bad taste in their mouth if I said, oh, this is a Christian comic book. That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is more that deeper question of what is the meaning of life. And so I want to interact with lots of different perspectives. And I think most people at the end of the day can identify with that. Like everyone has their worldview or perspective on how they see the world. But I think most people appreciate kind of an open-minded viewpoint where you're not afraid to interact with maybe other philosophies that you disagree with. And so that's what I'm trying to do. But the direct answer to your question is, yeah, I'm definitely drawing and writing from a Christian perspective. But it's not like one of those things where I can say, well, Lazarus is Jesus and Naomi is Mary and the robots are the apostles. It's not like that at all. It's just more of the way I think about life is framed from a Christian philosophical point of view. And that actually comes out in the story.
Okay. That's good to know. Someone likes your Wonder Piggy, Gerald. Philip Viking Lad Hollowell likes your brilliant Wonder Piggy.
Wonder Pig. Okay, I never thought of it.
You're actually 2 minutes.
2 more minutes. Okay.
No, two less minutes. You should be done 2 minutes ago. But
okay.
I asked Chad a really big question just before the time was up, so that's my mistake.
Okay. So you're basically saying it's pencils down. All right.
Yeah.
Pencils down. All right. Let's isolate Chad's screen here. So I wanna see what he did. Oh, that looks so cool.
Super Kermit.
I like the grin. This is something that I would love to see inked and colored. And you were talking.
I did the classic Rob Liefeld move and eliminated the hands.
Yeah, don't draw the hands, don't draw ankles or wrists, or but you did avoid the Liefeld Captain America chest.
Oh yeah.
where it looks like his spine is like completely like broken and his chest is coming out. So here's Wonder Piggy. So I think I had fun with this because I wanted to try and revisit the Wonder Woman one that I'd done earlier with that everybody talked about in terms of the Howard the Duck influence. But I wanted to do, Miss Piggy, because that was also a follow-up to our guest last week with Borbane. So maybe Wonder Piggy will show up in Borbane. Or maybe she'll show up in the silence. Who knows?
I know Justin Acosta have been in here earlier, so maybe he still is here. Justin Acosta, Wonder Piggy, make it happen.
Along with that sheep, that crazy was it?
It's kind of surprising to me that both of you chose DC heroes like immediately. But then again, they are the most obvious when we say superhero. We do think about Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman, like the three first people.
Yeah, I thought about maybe doing
so we have a trinity. We almost have the trinity. We needed a Batman, and it was been good. So someone in the comments make a Gonzo Batman.
Join us. Come on, and Roy, if you're out there, Roy, I know you've drawn with us in the past. Come on here and draw. While we're doing the last OC character from the Silence that we want to introduce, I would love for anybody to, if you want to draw Lazarus, if you want to do your own version of a superhero Muppet combination, or if you want to draw Naomi, because that's the big reveal. We're doing our third drawing is going to be Naomi. What did Roy say? I kind of missed it.
Spoilers. He said a great concept, Chad. I think we only have a few creators who dare to pursue that concept.
Yeah.
He's right. It's a good concept you got going, but I personally fear when it comes to it that you might have that it's, as I said, you have so much going on that it almost teeters to be able to end up chaotic in the end, both for the viewer and maybe even for you. So you really have to have all this scheduled out.
Yeah, well, it's like you were saying with my drawing is very much like storytelling, where I just teeter right on the edge of this might be too much. Yeah. But I think the thing I always tell people is that details make unreal things seem real. And so if used well, it really makes a fantasy world come alive. And so I want to add tons of detail in an appropriate way. I mean, when you think about like Tolkien, and Tolkien's the first one I can think of, but when he wrote out Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, like he created even like languages and like all kinds of stuff behind the scenes that you may not have seen, but it just gave a depth to that world. And I think the same applies to this, that, too many details can get real messy. And there's been drawings that I've done that I look at and I'm like, it's getting real muddled in areas. You can't really tell what's going on. So you have to be very careful with it. And it's the same with the story. If you've got too many storylines going on, too many characters, the reader will just get lost. So that's why I just narrowed it down to there's these 2 or 4 main characters, 2 of which you'll really focus on. And through their story, you'll be able to interact with a lot of other stories. So
playing chess here.
Right on the danger line.
I think that's great because it's sort of like, I guess if you can keep your mind straight, it's like mythologies within your mythology, your storytelling, but it's finding that balance because it only adds validity, I guess, if it gives motivation to your characters because they're responding to a history that you've established for them, a language, a prejudice or a stereotype, something that drives their character, that makes the character not superficial. It makes them deeper, and especially if they're going through a hero's journey or things like that, if they change over time, they become more endearing, and you feel like you can relate to them. And because we all go through those things. If they're one-dimensional or if they do things that are contrary to like things that you've established in the world, it's like world building. You want to make it believable and consistent because that makes for good storytelling. But yes, so here we are. We're going to go into the third. We're in the home stretch here. We're going to talk about drawing Naomi. So let me pull up the PDF here that we had that shows. I'm going to refresh our audience's memory here. So Naomi is the third character in this this 4-panel representation of the core characters, and I'm going to quickly go through. Oops, I'm going to show here. So here's a composite with Lazarus. It's just, this actually is the part where I guess this is the one where it looks very Michael Turner. It's still your style, but yeah, I get that vibe. One of our audience members or our audience mentioned that, and this is Naomi here. So here we are at 240. So it's a nice round number. Let's do 15 minutes again, Rick, I guess. How do you feel good about that, Chad?
Yep.
You want to do 15 minutes?
Yep.
And we're going to go ahead and draw Naomi. So Rick, go ahead and pick Chad's brain about who Naomi is and what she's about.
So, who's Naomi and what she's about?
Okay. All right. I'm not one to tell Rick what to say or do.
So I have to ask. I don't know if you actually answered this, but are they siblings?
No, they're not. So I kind of leave that open as far as what their relationship is. I want the reader.
So you just spoiled us.
Yes, no spoilers on that one. I want them to reflect on who these two characters are and their relationship and that kind of thing. But the significant thing about Naomi is that she was born blind, and so you don't see. She doesn't have any pupils or anything like that. And she has telekinetic abilities, so she can create objects, solid objects, and move solid objects with her mind. And as I talked about in the story, the Jubilee, she has received treatments and enhancements to where she can see. And so I like to play on that theme of, here's a blind character that actually can see better than everyone else, but she's also a bit naive to her surroundings and the society that she's grown up in. And the thing that gets her and Lazarus off the planet into this journey is her eyes, her mental eyes are open to how bad this society really is. Because in the story, the planet and society that they're in has convinced everyone that no one dies. And she finds out that people are in fact dying. It's just being hidden from her. And when she finds that out, her whole world is turned upside down. And her eyes are basically open to where she's been living and grown up in. So anyways, the other thing too that you find out later in the story, and this isn't really a spoiler, it's just helps with the reader give context. You find out later that these treatments that she's receiving are actually killing her. And Lazarus finds this out, but she does not. And so he has this information and doesn't know what to do with it. He doesn't know whether to tell her or, what his responsibility is in that. And it creates a lot of conflict in his life to know, what do you do? And so that's once again that theme of, here's a superhero with a flaw. And I really like that because it just humanizes them quite a bit. So so that's her main story. So
I really like the idea with the flaws once again. It's been done for Marvel. Marvel did it a lot back in the old days, after all, with both Iron Man and Peter Parker, the two most obvious ones. But you just decide to let's just handicap them and let them fight that instead.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like pushing that basic idea that Marvel came up with into a new extreme that makes it even more interesting, in my opinion, at least.
Well, I think we can all identify with that. I mean, we all in our lives, feel failure or brokenness or.
Yeah, I feel awesome. I don't know about you.
Except for Rick. I'm sorry.
Except for Rick. Rick is Rick doesn't have those problems. He's Ray Skywalker.
Yeah. Why do you keep putting me up with females? First I was Naomi, now I'm Ray Skywalker. What the hell? I have a beard, Gerald.
That's all done in fun, I'm mediocre. You're secretly female. I don't know. I'm just
You're just jealous. Is what
If
you
it makes you feel any better, Naomi's
No,
very
it doesn't.
pretty. So
No.
Those are compliments, right? Because Naomi's she's the
Chad,
heart of the
Chad.
silence, right?
I'm already taken. You don't hit on me, please.
So
what she reminds me of Naomi for some reason is like is a mixture of Michael Turner's Phantom. Isn't that what his
Fathom.
Fathom? Yeah,
Yeah.
and then mixed with like a Jean Grey when it comes to the power telekinetic powers.
Oh yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Of course you didn't, Gerald. That's my job.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with her? Like, was she your first one, or is Lazarus? Was that the first one you came up with of the two?
Lazarus was more from the original Silent Nights. She came on a little bit later, back when I was in college, and I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember her specific origins in my mind of where she came from or anything like that.
So there's no specific inspiration from her other than
you.
me.
You didn't know that he knew you from before, Rick. So you inspire people in different ways. So
apparently,
exactly. But yeah,
should I too?
So on a more serious note, so like we're talking about Naomi, in terms of her particular look, I wanted to show. We're going to show this at the after we do this live drawing. You've already started experimenting with her the color of her costume, and it just brings it to another level. You talked about. Could you talk a little bit more about her powers? Like what power she has, and what I guess you haven't alluded to why it kills her. Like what part of is it a specific power, or is it aside that she was blind, or she was born blind, but she's been enhanced so that she can see now. But
he did kind of just say that like last second, Gerald.
Oh, he did? Oh, shoot, I was so consumed with trying to draw her. I didn't quite hear it.
That's the struggle Lazarus is kind of having, whether because he knows that it's that the enhancements is killing her.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even listening, Chad.
He's trying to like put it on me now. That's what he's trying to do. So, but yeah, go ahead, Rick. You asked the questions.
So
yeah,
so you must be a really big science fiction fan for putting up with this kind of massive story, this whole universe on your own. What get you started? Have you always been in love with science fiction? Is that what brought the idea at first? Is it something special? What inspired you to get started on this endeavor?
Well, like I said, when I first started drawing, the characters were very like flat. It was like I said, the Silent Nights, and it was what your basic as a middle schooler, high schooler would think of. It's just your basic story. These are superheroes. They're there to save people, that kind of thing. But then I don't know if I mentioned this before. When my dad passed away, it just forced me to start asking questions myself about deeper things, and it affected my art as well. And so not only just my comic book art, but my art that I do for myself and that kind of stuff, it just shifted and took on a more philosophical approach. So I love science fiction because it just naturally provides that avenue to explore those topics. It's not that you can't do it in fantasy or mystery or horror or anything like that. It just seems like science fiction is more philosophical when it comes to storytelling. And like I said, I'm painting with a very broad brush there. So please forgive me.
It's also more open and allowing more allowing more thinking out of the box, because you can just say, hey, it's my world, it's my universe.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of creative freedom to be able to do that, and I just felt like the characters were more suited to be these kind of like not necessarily alien, but from a different society, rather than doing, you know, one's an elf and one's a dwarf and that, you know, that kind of thing. I liked it more of they're human type characters, but they're from an alien planet with different worldviews and perspectives and things like that. I really love, also the other thing I want to say is I really love the look of science fiction when you look at artwork from that genre, whether it's spaceships or environments or whatever. I love looking at, you know, 3D digital paintings that people have done of like different alien planets and stuff. It just, or cityscapes and all that kind of stuff, just really is very inspiring and intriguing. I just love
I
that.
love that. I love watching when like from games and sci-fi movies, and you go back and you see the art from behind it all.
Yeah.
And Philip just showed up as saying, so he's late. It's okay, Philip. Just go sit in the corner and and smile, and you're as welcome as the rest. I can also tell, in case you people missed it. Yes, Chad was filming with his cell phone, and it seems to have run out of battery. We will see the finished artwork when it's over, which is about 5 minutes actually.
5 more minutes, okay.
So he didn't turn it off on purpose.
Yeah,
Gerald, can I be a little critical of yours? Just for a second?
I can't imagine you being critical about anything that I do, but yes, please be critical.
It reminds me a lot of Mira, like from Aquaman, Queen Mira.
Oh, I never thought about that, but I'm just trying to do quick things, because one thing that I like about Chad's design for Naomi is that I love the texturing of her costume, her collar and the bands that go around her arms. I think that's really, really neat. And that's one thing, if you ever watch any of Chad's TikToks, he is like so detailed.
Chad's
like,
on TikTok?
He is. And when you see him draw, it's like he's drawing like every little circle. I mean, there are thousands of circles that are like in her costume.
I mean that can be very relaxing to do as well. Just sit and do circles. I can do that for sometimes when I just need to relax and I want to move my hands and do something. It's just can easily just be simple circles.
I need to do that. Maybe I need to draw circles to find some sort of stress relief.
It's relaxing and stress relieving. Indeed.
Okay. Well, then I guess Chad must be the most stressless artist on the planet, because this guy.
I've heard he got a lot. I've heard he got a large family, so he has to do something to get the stress out. After all, so circles.
Circles. Well, because we were looking at some of his inked work, and I think we're going to look at some of the stuff that he shared with me with. Oh wait, here. I feel like I'm always chasing my tail. Would that be the same?
No, running in circles is not the same as drawing circles.
Okay. But I was going to say is that Chad was shared with me some of his stuff from the Silence 2, and there's this scene with a building, and it's like looking up at this building. And this building is like taller than the tallest building here on planet Earth. And Chad decided, you know what?
Big Ben.
Taller than Big Ben. And Chad decided, you know what? I'm going to draw the windows. He decided to draw, and the TikTok was him drawing like every little window. And I was like, oh my gosh, it hurts my head to think about if I had to do it. I mean, when he's doing it, I think a lot of people in the comment fields were like going, wow, it's so satisfying watching Chad use a ruler and draw. He's going in with an inking things and he's adding all these little details. And some people were like, I guess I was feeling anxiety thinking about if I had to do it, but a lot of people thought it was therapeutic, and just like Rick was saying, when you draw in the circles, people were just
I think it's a mental thing, how you see it, Joel. I mean, you the way you do art is very rushing in your strokes and all that. So
Yeah.
I can understand you going in and saying, okay, being this quote unquote nitpicky about things would stress you out. Well, that's because you haven't tried it with a mindset that tells you, oh, this is relaxing, if you know what I mean.
I think I need to do a change of mind, artist change of mind, in terms of like that way I can feel the zen, the Chad Zen in terms of
but we haven't even gotten an answer from Chad. Chad, do you feel that therapy from doing all those small details, or is it also anxiety for you?
No, I think I try to keep in my mind the end product, because like I said before, the details really highlight the realism of the drawing. So if I see, like I posted one last night of me doing the cycling effect in the background, and I got a few comments like, oh, that drives me insane. I would never, there's so many dots. But I'm thinking, I'm just going to do this little 1/2-inch square, then go do something else, and then come back and do a little bit more, and then go do something else. And I always keep in my mind, yeah, this is driving me crazy. But at the end of the day, once I'm finished, the final product will look really good. So I just keep on going. So
Roy says Djævel needs to start taking care of a bonsai tree.
I do. I need to be Mr. Miyagi and like just sort of sit there. Yes, and just clip here, type stuff. Yeah, I need to go find me a bonsai tree. Yeah.
Out in the wild.
Out in the wild, right?
Don't come back before you found that bonsai tree in the wild of America.
Okay. So how much time do we got now left, Rick?
Done.
Done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's
look at Chad. He's doing it right. He's also hands up and everything.
All right. I soloed you out. There we go. Look at that. And see, this is a very, very hard pose to do for kind of like that 3/4 back view type thing, and just phenomenal. Love it. I mean, and if I were to try and do this pose, you would see me like draw, erase, because it just wouldn't look. I just couldn't pull it off. Yeah.
Wait, Jared, can you do anything from the chest down?
Okay,
I'm kidding. I have seen full body, but when it comes to let it out, that's your kind of your focus.
I have to do in the time that I have. I mean, I barely can get this done in the 15 to 20 minutes that we have.
So you made unnecessary circles. You could have easily do it.
These are not unnecessary. These are pivotal character design choices that Chad has said for Naomi's character design. So I had to make sure that I put those circles in, even though they're not neat circles like Chad's. Mine is just squiggly lines, stuff like that.
If you can't properly circle, then don't circle at all.
Right.
Yeah. One thing I would say about your drawing, you always say about how you have a wonky, like scribbly style. I think your drawing is really good. I think if you just spent like another half an hour like cleaning it up, like I really think you would. Not that your drawing's bad now, but if you're talking about doing the inking and like all the tight things.
We weren't done talking about your art, Joe, so don't remove it.
No, I'm telling you, I'm complimenting him. But I'm also saying, like, I think they're in that, to get real like specific, if you cleaned it up, like it would look fantastic. Like, I know you kind of joke about the wonky, sketchy style, but I really see something awesome there that you could, if you just clean it up a little bit, it would look amazing.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I mean, that means a lot.
I've said that a lot to him as well, but he just won't listen. He just won't listen.
because every positive art thing that he tells me, I keep on hearing it's like positive Rick on this shoulder telling me you can do it, and the other side is like going, you're mediocre. You're mediocre. It's like the
positive says you can do it, you're good, and then the other positive says you can get mediocre.
Anyway, like one day,
See, like Philip just commented. I've said that before. You gotta lose Freddie Williams kind of style to your stuff.
Yeah.
And where is Philip's Nightcrawler, Gerald? He wants to know.
Yeah.
Where is Philip?
Nightcrawler is coming soon. I'm trying to level up. You know, once I can get past
we have a Roy Mercado piece.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
It's on the art show. So Rick, I'm going to, actually, let me look and see if I can find it. And but yes, I'll try and pull that up. Before I do that, let me pull up the PDF because I want to go ahead and keep on moving with the show while I look up Roy's artwork. So let me because I want to show. Oh, what were you gonna say, Rick?
I said, yeah, we're about to finish it up, so we should get the links up again. No, you got the banner running. Good,
yeah.
Smart.
I wanted to go ahead and start showing the preview for Silence 2. Let me, because this is the dum. This is where we talk about, because we got to see Silence 1, but Silence 2 is coming. It's already, it's coming in spring 2021. But we're also getting a special edition remastered Silence 1, which is going to be available this December. And that's one of the things that was I really
on giving.
Yeah, he keeps on. The remastered version. It's going to be first one, I believe, was there he is. He has a prototype right here. I think the first Silence was a soft cover. So the new one is going to be hardcover. And the goal is when going forward, everything.
I like it hard.
Okay, too much information here.
I meant the comic.
Well, he likes hard covers.
Yeah. Well, what the hell? What were you?
I just
thinking?
said that was too much. I think that we should just stay on the topic here. We're talking about this. So I'm gonna let's keep on going and just sort of preview the Silence 2.
I'm messing this up.
So look at this here. We're already seeing a leveling up. If you thought Silence 1 art that we showed you earlier, that was there was a little bit of a gap in terms of like when this showed up. This was back. I think Silence 1 was 4 years ago. Is that correct?
It was 3 years ago, and then I got a promotion at work, which caused me to step away, and I hated that job, so I quit and came back to drawing comics, which I think is what I need to do with my life. So I'm back now and plan on doing books for years to come. And so I'm back working on the second book now. Yeah,
and that's the thing. The cool thing about this is that now Chad has had like this renewed like focus. And if you, like I said, if you thought the art was phenomenal in Silence 1 with those pencils, look at this. We're looking at just next level. I mean, look at the texturing. I see the striations in his armor. It's like this must be the ultimate.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? Chad, you don't need to do that. Are you?
He does need to do it. I mean, this is. I mean, you see these are pencils, of course, and you see this. Yeah. You see Naomi going berserk here with like. She didn't just have two spears. She had two spears, kind of like in the art that we've seen from the Silence 1. But she's leveled up. I mean, she's like, it's like, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 5, at least 5.
It's only 2, but as you can see, she's twisting it around.
Yes.
So, they she doesn't hold them. They just rotate around her. So like you can never get to her because you'll be sliced in half, and then she can throw those out at people and that kind of thing. So they're really
just crazy. I mean, I think a dentist would appreciate these teeth. I mean, my gosh. I mean, I was just so, here we have some more some inked work here, and we see some of the emotion that and I like this super low worm's eye view, and it's I think from and this is going to be me more praising your artwork again. I remember a similar sequence like this in the I think it was a Joe Quesada. Daredevil, I think it was like the evil, I forgot what it was, where he was talking about there was a sequence where a villain comes into the church, and it's done from the same thing as he's walking down the aisle of pews.
Yeah.
I
know what you mean.
He picks that angle, and I looked at this and I go, I don't even know if you saw that, but you pull it off too. It gives the sense of like you get the sense of motion, and it's very similar. I think is it Karen Page? I believe she gets killed by Bullseye, and it's a retelling of the story. And Daredevil's at the front, and he's holding Karen, and she's like dying, and there's the same sequence. It has this from the foot point of view, and it's just, and then it pans out here, and I just get, and then you see her just, she's ready to go ballistic, on him, and I was just, it's 3 years. What can 3 years do between the Silence 1 and Silence 2? Just crazy good. Chad, did you want to talk a little bit about some of these things? Because or do you want me to?
Every time you say Chad, I'm looking at the chat like, what did Chad write? I'm confused.
Yeah. So look at this. This is the building that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And you see this explosion, and I'm like, I could, if I zoomed in, I probably could see somebody in one of these windows, like waving.
Yeah, that's probably Kermit is in the windows.
But I was like,
Armando Ramirez thinks this looks intense as well, and
this
one of the good guys.
In this one, the right-hand panel, that building, I extracted that, and that's what I'm coloring right now for the cover. And the reason why is because this building is actually the main character of issue 2, because there's 3 scenes in the book, and they each end on this building exploding, or this thing crashing into the building, which you find out is the spacecraft from number 1. If you remember, we talked in the beginning. So that spacecraft comes down, crashes in the building, and the reason why that's so life altering for the society is because they've been taught from the beginning that no one dies anymore. And here is a situation where it looks very much like someone has just died, and so they
Kermit dies.
Yeah, do what?
He said Kermit
dies.
Yeah, Kermit dies in this one. So
yeah, so this, yeah.
Yeah. So and it's funny that you say about the windows, because the windows I kind of scribbled in, and when I went to go in and color it, I felt like the windows were really messy. So I really appreciate your compliment about that.
I'm gonna try and zoom in, because you didn't send me the super duper like high resolution, but I'm gonna zoom in as here. We're at 125%. Look at this. This is insane.
It's just stupid. Why?
Well, to me, it's like this is an artist paying attention to his craft. I mean, look at this.
But there's paying attention to his craft, and then there's being completely stupid. I mean, how many pages could you have done if you just made these simple windows?
This is his style. It
is true.
Yeah, and I can like it, but also think that it's stupid work. At the same time, I can love it. I can love it and find it stupid. It's too much work.
Okay, Chad. He means stupid good. He means stupid.
Yeah.
Good.
Hey, I will take it as a complete compliment. If you feel like I'm a stupid artist, you know what? I don't care. You obviously will remember this work. So
you're stupid, insane artist, and
yeah. He means it stupid good, and don't. I mean, I was just looking at. We see even these reflections, like in these buildings and stuff like that. It's just really. And then look at this floor with this perspective grid. You're doing it's kind of like a worm's eye view, right? Worm's eye lens, where it kind of distort. I mean, you've done the because if you look at the perspective on this floor and this panel on the left, it's coming from 2 different directions. So I kind of look at it as like if you're looking at this through like a fisheye lens type thing. And I don't even have words to describe it. I mean, look at this upper left-hand corner here too.
And Chad, you've done something right if you made Gerald speechless.
Yeah,
that takes work.
I am not guilty of not having a word to say about something. So yeah, that's Rick describing me completely right. So here we
You
go.
were saying on that last one, you were saying about the floor.
Yes.
You were saying about the floor.
Yes.
If you look closely on the right page up close, I actually messed it up and I had to tape a piece of paper over it, and I redid the floor because the tiles just came out horribly, and I'm not super happy with the floor as it is. So what I'm probably going to do is put some dialogue balloons over it.
You didn't have to say that.
Don't give him ideas, Roy. Don't give him ideas.
I think that. Yeah.
But no, that's one of those things where you see it and I see it in two different ways. You know what I mean? Like I see where like, oh, I could have done this better, that better, or whatever. And it's not till I mention it that you guys would notice it. But for me, that's one of those things where I'm like, I could have done that better. But
now it's not so impressive for me anymore. now when you said that you made a mistake, it's like whatever now.
Well, that's the thing about, I think you're still doing this. Obviously, this is still traditional ink on page. So you're not even like because I think that a lot of artists are transitioning from traditional to digital, and I think that you could solve a lot of these things. But to me, I've tried digital. I'm still trying to find my. I still feel it doesn't feel natural to me. It's too smooth, and I can't get. And me, my wonky style, it's like it doesn't translate to like the clean precision that you get here. But artists are our own worst critics. And I did notice that line, but to me, you corrected it. And I didn't even think anything of it. But this is one thing that I wanted to show. But let's keep on going here. This is another thing to show some texture that's a signature of Naomi's costume here. But
Why?
But look at it. If you met Bernie Wrightston, and Bernie Wrightston is another artist who puts a lot of detail, crazy detail into his stuff, would you tell him that his style is stupid? No, it's just that's part of it.
I would.
You would?
Insane.
But stupidly good insane. I think it's just great. Just great stuff. But this is what I wanted to talk about too, because Silence, we saw the hardcover prototype that Chad showed. But here we get a sense of this is Chad experimenting. And I saw this. I thought the art was already incredible in black and white and pencils, inks. Now he's doing colors. And next level, everything that you show just levels everything up again. I like how her costume is like almost like a gossamer. It's like semi-translucent, but it has almost like this cyberpunk kind of like an iridescent metallic look to it as well, and the color just adds to it. And of course her power set, now that you're showing like it's almost like her hands get consumed by like a white light. It's just like you don't even see you just see the general silhouette. You want to talk about your color experimentation with this?
So I don't obviously touch a whole lot of color, and I haven't for forever, and I like to obviously I focused on black and white for so long. I paid someone to do some pages for me, and he did a great job. And it just really inspired me to play around with some color. So this is this is very early. I've only actually done 3 things. This one, the cover, and the new one I'm working on. But I did with this one, I originally did the background green, and I felt like it clashed too much. So then I did a blue. And this one is actually inspiring me. I might change her name to Naomi Blue. I like that name, and I like the coloring. But with this, I wanted her little silk kind of dress in the front. I did that on purpose because I wanted her to be sensual without being sexual. In other words, I wanted her to have this female, she's very beautiful and stunning, but I didn't want to sexualize her and make her objectify her. So I was trying to find that balance with that, and I thought that part of the outfit really helped with that. And then with the hands, I wanted to communicate that with her telekinetic ability, it's almost like they become white hot, like fire hot, like you can't touch them. And whatever she touches is just filled with power, and whatever she makes is filled with power. And I thought I played around with that quite a bit, and I thought it turned out pretty well. I was very happy with it, and that's if I were to color the comic book, whenever she gets into a fight, that's how I would portray it. So
I look at it too, because you talked about her being blind, so it's like blind. Her power it's like it's blinding light.
Yeah.
You don't even see you just see the silhouette of her hands anymore. It's because it's just it's I guess it's one of those things where a picture is 1,000 words. You can really see the power just coming out of her hands here. And I think this is a good opportunity. We got to see the colors, but I was able to find the fan art. That I'm not the only person who did fan art now, Chad. We have Roy,
Nice.
who did some, and I got to see it first, so I was really happy to see that. Let me share that screen. So let's go to Chrome tab, and this is what Roy did.
Nice.
So
Nice.
just
Yeah.
great
I
work.
love it.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal quick thing, and he's able to capture. It has it's another fan's perspective of your character. So you definitely made an impact on at least 2 artists here. And hopefully our audience, if they got to see the world of the silence. And
Hey, Maria, get on it.
Yeah.
So that's right. I would not be surprised if Maria decides. Maria's a very talented artist in herself.
Yes.
Herself, and she's a great friend to both Chad and I, and Rick as well. So hopefully,
well, we've only been talking in the How to Draw Comics group and such. We have a lot of friends in common, so we might end up being friends. Who knows?
Yeah. So I think that is one of those things about the Facebook community, the indie comics communities, that we've I never would have thought that I would have Maria from Indonesia, Rick from Denmark, Chad from Kentucky.
Yeah.
And hear me being
Kentucky. The way you said Kentucky, you just had to put some extra power.
Oh, it's because it is. It's
Kentucky.
like it's Kentucky, and it's from America. So,
America.
So yeah. So thank you so much, Roy, for contributing to that. I really enjoyed seeing that. So one thing I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the future now, in terms of the Silence 2 is coming out obviously in 2021, and we also have this December we're going to have the remastered version of the Silence 1, which is going to have. Tell us a little bit about like what is different aside from the hardcover. That's different about Silence 1 remastered that's going to be available in December.
Yeah, first I just want to say thank you to Roy. His drawing was awesome. I loved the hair. It really captured a lot of action. I love that. So with this, the original came out in soft cover. This is in hardcover format. The cover is colored, which is different from the first one. On the inside, you get the first half of it. It's 65 pages long. The first half is the comic book that we previewed, and then in the middle I add some of the pencil pages so you can see some of the original work, and then I add some character sketches, and then at the back there is a section where it's perforated so you can actually tear these out as posters. And so every edition going forward will be this format. It'll be a hardcover 6x9 size with the posters and the sketch art in the back. And then once I'm done, there'll be 4 volumes, which, as I said before, with the symphony, there's 4 movements. And in each volume, there'll be 10 issues. So once I'm done with issue 10 in the first series, then I'll come out with a 12x12 large hardback with all the sketches and all the issues. So that'll be like a very significant book that will come out at that point. And each one will be color coded. So for the first volume will be red. Then the second and third, fourth volume will be different colors. I haven't decided yet what the other ones will be, but when it goes on the shelf, you'll see it'll look like that. But then when you flip it over, it'll have a different color, and you'll be able to see the different volumes. So and my plan is to run a Kickstarter on these to fund them, and I'm hoping to do at least one a year. But hopefully, if it picks up enough to where I can afford to take some time off that I can make more, then I'd love to do several a year, and hopefully it just continues to build momentum that way. So if not, then I'll be doing this until I'm in my 80s, because I plan on doing about 40 books. So
there we go. That's a lot of circles.
To get through to this, but
That's a lot of circles.
A lot of
Yeah.
circles. I think when they go off planet, they're gonna have to go to another planet where their circles are like outlawed. Like there's no
Yeah.
circles. So the culture hasn't invented circles, and
there you
maybe
go.
that's
That's
gonna
a
be.
great idea. I'm gonna have to use that.
But I want.
Fear of fears.
Yes, right. So I want everybody to go to. I'm gonna in the comments section. I'm going to post a link to Chad's website. Let me go ahead and put that there. And I have a banner here that I set up as well. So let me put that banner up. And
yeah, I'll just say, thesilencecomics.com is my website, but I mostly interact with social media. So I try to post every day, sometimes several times a day, through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Dayflash. I'm also on LinkedIn,
Dayflash, is that
ArtStation, but I don't use those as much. But Facebook and Instagram and TikTok are the main ways that I put stuff out. And then I'll update the website as new things come out as well. But on the website, you can purchase the book through PayPal, and then there's an email sign up, so you'll get updates and that kind of thing. But definitely follow me on Facebook. I have Chad Nuss on Facebook or the Silence Comics, either one. So
Chad Nuss.
yes, Bonderers.
Chad Nuss.
It's Nuss. Yes, and so if you go to the another thing that Chad has set up is that when you go there, if you sign up, if you want to wait, if you obviously purchase the remastered version this December, but when that Kickstarter campaign starts in 2021, because I'm sure it's going to smash, it's going to totally get funded within 24 hours. I think it's one of those things. I think it's so cool. Let's cross our fingers and hope for that. Awesome. But I think what you could do is you could go to his website. If you don't decide to buy just yet, sign up for it. Just get on. There's he set up an email capture system so that way you can be in the know. And so when that Kickstarter is ready to go live, you will get it in your inbox, a reminder about it, and there will be a tier aside from getting Silence 2, which is what the Kickstarter is going to be in 2021. You can still, do a tier where you can combine getting Silence 1 along with it. So I encourage you, if you want something to read, make great Christmas gifts for this December. Go to this big cartel -com under thesilencecomics.com, this link here, and you can check it out. And if you just go to the website itself, if you just go to thesilencecomics.com, you can see a lot of the artwork that we showed, as well as some things that weren't that we didn't show. But you get more of a feel and flavor for what Chad is doing. All the circles you could ever want. That's
and more.
And more. It's exactly and more. So we did another marathon show. We pushed over 2 hours and 20 minutes here. So it's so fun. I think when we have that kind of show, that just goes to show what that it's easy. The conversation is so easy, and just time flies. So I want to thank you so much for being a part of Comics Cast Let It Out for today. And this is the as we close out, this is what we call the Oscar speech time. I'm going to give the mic over to you again, Chad, and you can pretty much have the final. Give us your final thoughts. Your thank yous, or you want to do a shout out. Sure. It's all to you.
Yeah, I mean, I would just first give kind of a generic thank you to everyone that supported the first book several years ago. I apologize for the delay on the second book, but I plan on doing this consistently for years to come. And I'm always excited when new people come on board. And I just hope that when you read the book, you see it as not just a comic book, but a thing of beauty, a work of art. And I hope it's something that you enjoy and impacts your life is really what I want to see happen. So, I just really appreciate everyone that supports me, and thank you all very much. So.
Yeah, well said. So thank you so much. I know, Rick, despite going back and forth there, I think Rick loves your artwork too. It's because he thinks it's stupid good. It's stupid good.
Yeah, it is really good, really detailed, and just I'm looking forward to seeing more of it for sure.
Yeah, and one thing I didn't say I want to emphasize as well. Just thank you for having me on the show, and I really do appreciate becoming friends with both of you. And really look forward to continuing.
I'm unfriending you, by the way, just so you know.
I'm trying to be heartfelt here, Rick. I'm trying to get out my heart and just.
I understand that you're trying to be. I understand that, but I understand that, but it's too late. Too late to apologize.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I guess this will be a nice time for us to transition to what we end our show with always, which is basically a note to our charity partner, and because I need Rick to settle down a little bit. So here we go. So let me share one more screen here, and let me call that up. So all right, so this is Golden Fight and goldenfight.org. And Rick, can you call up the banner real quick so I can go ahead and start talking a little bit about them. So here we have Golden Fight, and they're our charity partner, and they're basically what I like to call this organization is small enough and big enough at the same time. Basically, they are a organization that helps parents that are dealing with children who are sick, like cancer, who are dealing with really difficult diseases. And often when they're focusing on the healing of their child, financial difficulties will happen. And that's where Golden Fight comes in. And they're small in the sense of that they're very focused. They're not nationwide. They're focused in like the Mid-Atlantic region, in my neck of the woods, like Virginia, DC, Maryland, Delaware. And basically what they do is, with that smaller approach, they can be tightly focused. So, but then they're also big, because big hearts, in the sense that what money they do raise, 98% of that goes directly to those parents and to help heal their child when they're going through these financial difficulties. So that 2 or 3% is that nominal amount is just to cover, like administrative overhead things. And a lot of the leadership, a lot of the organization does things strictly like volunteer. And they all have, some of them being experienced having children or loved ones that have gone through a similar ordeal. So very dear to my heart, and I hope that you guys can check them out. And if it's something that you were like considering maybe supporting an organization, this is one of those really organizations that I think that you would know that your money is going to a good place. So check out Golden Fight, and it's the holiday season, and it'd be really cool to throw some love and support their way. So let's remove that. And I'm going to, it's the sad part where I'm going to like get all teary here. I have to say goodbye to my co-host Rick and to my guest Chad. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for both being on the show with me. And I think that our audience can all agree that we were in for a treat. We got to see some lively conversation and some great artwork, and to see the creative process that went behind it. And now I think everybody when we get off the show today, everybody go practice drawing circles, because I think that's I'm gonna see that's
I suddenly have a need have a need to go practice circles. I don't know where that came from. I need to do circles.
Yeah, I think that if it's going to be that stress relief, and I can create epics like the Silence and the Silence 2, which is coming out in spring 2021. Make sure you go to Chad's. Let me pull up the banner one more time. So here we go. This is how you can follow Chad. So make note of that. It is in the comments field. Sign up for his newsletter or his email list, so you can be in the know, and that way you can get your daily dose of circles and diagonals and feel good, feel some stress free. But yeah, it's going to be an epic story. It was my pleasure to highlight you, and I wish you nothing but success. The door is open, so when you're ready to launch that Kickstarter, you give me a call. Rick will be waiting on bated breath for your return to Comics Cast. Let it out. Okay, so you guys, to our audience, thank you so much for being with us, and another Comics Cast Let It Out coming at you. Awesome. Keep on being creative. All right, keep on drawing. You guys have a good night. Bye-bye.